Okay, cool. So then how much time are you investing towards creating this podcasting company?
I don't know, right now, probably 15 hours a week.
Okay. All right. Are you going to create like a software or like what is it that you're thinking?
Yeah, so it is. It's we've been working on it for 4.5 months. So we've got a web developer team of programmers, coders, guys that have built it all from scratch. So building the algorithms out. So it's like when you get on, you build a match like by like and have a.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, I have an incredible guest today. And, I always say that, but it's because it's always true. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to get to talk to this gentleman, get to learn from him, and get to connect with him. But before I introduce this gentleman to you, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving comments, reviews, and likes on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, and Spotify. And to those who have been watching on YouTube as well, thank you very much. You are the reason why we do what we do. And today, I want to ask you for a favor. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, some type of insights, skill, so a piece of information, or the inspiration to go out and take action and make some progress towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with 10 people. Share the link on social media, share it with friends through Messenger, through WhatsApp, everywhere. Share it with 10 people, since this is how we grow. This is how we're able to share our message, reach more people, to motivate, inspire, and bless other men out there to change their lives and the lives of others. So today I have Tyzer Evans. He's a small town kid, grew up in a low middle class family. And since his first job out of college, he's been able to more than 10x his income. He has started several businesses, grew a family business, and he continues to become the best version of himself, right? Which is what life is all about: purpose, growth, and contribution. And I'm very excited to have him. I'm very excited to have you, man. Thank you very much for being here. And you are welcome, brother.
Thank you, Alex. Man, I'm stoked to be here. I've loved our offline chat so far. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to spend some time with you tonight.
Me too. And the first thing that I do with my guests, man, is I ask them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
Well, all right. Well, mine started in college while I was working full-time at another job and going to school full-time. It was a disaster. Didn't know what I was doing with another guy. We spent a bunch of money and it failed. Retried a couple years later and did the reverse thing. That went wildly successful, was able to sell that. Helped my brother with another thing. That went okay. He's still plugging away at it. My wife's ran 2 successful businesses. And now we have a real estate business, and I'm launching, I guess would be technically my 4th here in the next probably 30 days. So I'll have to keep you posted on how that goes.
Damn, that was incredibly short and concise, and it sounds like a quite a journey, right?
Oh,
yeah, man. So what is it that you got going on right now? It sounds like you got a lot. So yeah, fill me in.
Yeah. So technically speaking, right now, I'm a vice president for an insurance company, and I'm working on actually a podcast web application company. People like you and I that podcast a lot. As you know, it can be sometimes hard finding really qualified guests that you want to have to provide a lot of value to your audience, which is most important to me. And so I'm kind of basically taking Match.com and Bumble and making it into a web application company to put more of the control in the host hands and make it a cleaner version for vetting guests and guests be able to vet host, and without a lot of spamming going on.
Damn. So so you're the vice president of an insurance company.
Mhm.
How much time do you spend there? Like if you were to put it in a percentage, how much time would you say you spend there?
50 hours a week.
50 hours a week?
Yeah.
Damn, okay, cool. So then how much time are you investing towards creating this podcasting company?
I don't know. Right now, probably 15 hours a week.
Okay. All right. Are you going to create like a software or like what is it that you're thinking?
Yeah, so it is. It's we've been working on it for 4.5 months. So we've got a web developer team of programmers, coders, guys that have built it all from scratch. So building the algorithms out. So it's like when you get on, you build a match like by like and have a seamless user face. There'll be guest user face, host user face, and then marketing agencies will be able to go in there and load up all their different types of clients that they represent with a nice, beautiful user face. So we're at the ending stages where we'll be able to actually have a call tomorrow night to look at hopefully the final version, and we can start demoing in the next couple of weeks and asking podcast hosts that I know to jump on the platform and try it out. Let me know. Kind of going with that minimum viable type concept, not perfect yet, but we just want to get it to market so we can learn from people like yourself what
Yeah.
they don't like and what they love about it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's what it's all about, right? Getting feedback because you will never know. Like ultimately, what you think doesn't matter, right? That's
Yeah,
why you got to
exactly.
launch it, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Um.
exactly.
So, yeah, man, that's exciting, man. I didn't know that, man. How young is this?
It was just one of those things. I was sitting around. I'm always, thinking of different ideas I want to do, and I keep like journals and jot them down. And my wife's, she's only ever been an entrepreneur. She's never worked for anybody else, and so she's usually really good at telling me that's a terrible idea, Ty, because I'm always the idea guy. Or she'll be like, "No, you need to execute on that." And so I was tossing a bunch of stuff at her, and I tossed that at her, and I go, "Hey, I think this would solve this issue that I face constantly." And she goes, "Do that. That's a great idea." And that was in October. So then started executing. I was, part of Arte Syndicate. And so through some of my relationships there, found a great programmer, and we started working on it towards the end of November, and just been meeting bi-weekly and, drawing a business plan, get the logo, that type of stuff, mission statement, started to connect with a consulting firm, marketing firm, and while they're developing it.
Hmm. I that man. So, all right, cool. So you've sold one company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
then you
technically
have
those two.
experience.
Yeah.
You're a pretty experienced guy when it comes to like like coming up with an idea, delegate, building teams and delegating everything out and growing really fast. Then.
Yeah, what's interesting about my entrepreneurial journey that's different than most is that I've always worked full time while running businesses on the side.
Yeah. I can tell. Well, I cannot tell, but you just told me right now, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So everything I've done has been pretty much e-commerce, where my wife, her businesses, hers have been like right now she owns an interior design firm here, and she owned a home staging company when we lived in California. So hers has been a lot more hands-on practical. I've liked to set mine up to where it's producing a nice yield on the side that I can grow in the morning and at night. And it's just kind of on autopilot, and then
yeah,
allows me to do other things during the day.
this is crazy. So, man, do you know Potamatch?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, the CEO of that, the founder and CEO of that company, I don't remember his name, but I'm gonna have him on my podcast in like 3 weeks, right? And then there's this other guy who's the founder of roofing.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who invested into that startup, right? So he has like he invested into it, right? And they were able to grow. And then with his knowledge and his experience, like that, it's a 9-figure company now. So I'm gonna have both of them on my podcast. I'm gonna have I don't remember the name of the CEO and founder of Podmatch, but then I'm gonna have the investor of the guy who invested into Podmatch to like grow it on my podcast as well. And I was I was thinking about pitching him, like myself to him, because guess what my business is, man?
What's that?
Guess what my business is?
What's that?
Like a podcasting business,
Oh, yeah. Right.
right? So let's see. So we use podcasting as a networking tool, right? That's what we
Sure.
do. And then we combine that with this system, this process that we call the Cloak Track, to help entrepreneurs build a multi-million-dollar network, just like I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
that will help them connect with people who can become their clients, put them in front of hundreds of their ideal clients with their coaching courses, speaking, books, right? Who can invite them to speak on stage. I've been booked to speak on 4 stages in the past 2 months. Build a network of people who can speak on their stage and ultimately achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort, right? I just mentioned right now how I'm literally achieving goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve this year, like taking my company to $1 million per year, speaking on stage, throwing my own events. And I've been doing that, right, by building a network, using podcasting as a network and leveraging the cloak track. And I'm thinking about having this 9-figure exit by 2025, but I don't have a, I don't know, like building, right? Building, having proof of concept. And then, once I get to $1 million, then, thinking about investing into software, but you're like doing it from right off the bat, man. Like, holy crap.
Yeah. It's interesting. I heard Ty Lopez at a conference, a 10X growth conference I was at, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, talk. And it's kind of what I've always done. I even said like my business plan is kind of a loose business plan. I've always just like, if I think of something, it's just, let's go. And Ty Lopez said, hey, if you have an idea, you should execute on it within 2 weeks. Like you should have a website up, you should have a logo going, and that could be a bit quick. But even, I always talk about my father-in-law because he's the most successful person that I've met. And he's like, the guy's ran, I don't know how many businesses, I mean, a lot. At one point he had 60, 70, franchises. And he was like, I've never done a business plan. He's like, I just, I go, I try something, I pivot, I write it down, I go and I pivot. And, he's done a lot of different things in his life. And so I think sometimes people, they overcomplicate it and they think that they have to have all their ducks in a row, and which is important to be well thought out and strategic about your approach. But it doesn't have to be complicated. It's most important, like just getting to market and testing it. What's the point of spending 10 figures on a business or 6 figures on a business? And people are like, this sucks. I don't want what you're making. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So what is this issue that you were facing that you're solving with the software that you're building?
Yeah. So Podmatch, Matchmaker, some of the other, they're great platforms, and they're really cool with what they can do with some of the services. But I felt, not those two, I don't want to throw shade on anybody, but between my emails and the different services, I would be so inundated with emails for people trying to come on my podcast. And I didn't feel like there was a really great way to vet them quickly. And so I was spending, sometimes, I don't know, where you're at, but I get anywhere from 5 to 15 requests a day. And so with all the things I have going on in my life, with having a family and working and trying to build companies, that we have a real estate company, other things that have going on, that I can't read through all that and then go to someone's personal website, listen to 5 episodes they've been on before, go check all their social media handles. And I was like, man, there's got to be other people experiencing this pain. So I like you, I've now got 230 episodes out, and I've probably been on, 50 to 60 myself. And so I started talking to other hosts. I'm like, hey, are you having a hard time qualifying people quickly? And they're like, yeah, it's like impossible. I get spammed constantly. And so I was trying to solve for that issue. How do you have a nice user face where the information pops up? There's a way to rate people on being a quality guest. There can be a sound bite. You can see their social media handles. You can get their bio, and you can simply click if you want to connect with that person or not. And if you don't, you move on. Right. And then the guests have no way of emailing you unless the host says, yes, this is a qualified person. Then it'll open up a chat function. So it just kind of dilutes some of the spamming that's happening. And the user face will be really nice.
So you get requests, 5 to 15 requests daily for people trying to get on your podcast, or
Correct.
People who, okay, got it. All right. And you want to like be able to, I forgot the word, man. Qualify them. There you go.
Yeah, qualify them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you do a great job of qualifying people, and I give you a lot of props for that with your thoroughness. And for me, I found it difficult to be super thorough. So I found myself in situations where I'd read a quick bio, and you don't know who's bullshitting or not on their credentials. I mean, let's be honest, to some extent. Mm-hmm. And so I'd get on, we'd go live, and I'm like, this person's full of shit. And I'm like, I can't even use this material. And then how I've wasted my time away from work or away from my family. And so that happened to me a couple of times. And I was like, I can't do this. There's got to be a better way for me to be able to vet qualified people. So I was just trying to work through my mind, like, what would make sense and what are the people out there doing well, but what I don't like about their platforms and how can I fine tune it to make it better, make it my own.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So then you help, podcasters out there find ideal podcast guests, vet them and qualify them. Yeah. You help them with that, right? Save a lot of time. Awesome, man. So you're an idea guy, right?
Yeah.
What about implementation, like implementation and integrating everything in systems and leading and stuff like that?
Well, that's what you have great people for, right? It's just like, I don't have the technical skill set for any of that. And that's where I've been blessed to, crush it. In insurance, I've been doing that since I was 25. And, my wife crushes it at her job. And so we have the resources to be able to pay people to help us, with the technical stuff that I'm not good at. I'm a huge fan of delegation. Any teams I've ever ran, I've flipped 7 sales teams throughout my career, all over the country. It's kind of one of the things I've specialized in, building culture and getting sales organizations up. But the last one I took from 8 million to 25 million in about 20 months, I'm a great delegator. So I have the 30,000 foot vision, and then I'm all about relinquishing power to the right people and empowering them so I don't have to take on the burden myself. And then it's just kind of supervising, making sure everybody's executing on their individual jobs.
So what kind of people do you need right now for this current business, for this software?
Definitely looking at marketing firms, right? I've already got the technical support. Those guys are going to stay on with us and help us out. It'll be really having people walk us through the growth strategy. So there's a good buddy of mine here in Houston who's part of a really international consulting firm. So we've been already talking about kind of the front end strategy to go to market, getting the right people involved. So we have the social handles, we can start creating the content, taking content from people that are using it, right? I would love to be able to, kind of like you're talking about, not only facilitate conversations through podcasts, but facilitate conversations for Instagram lives, Facebook lives, right? LinkedIn lives. Like, I want it to be a bigger platform. I thought this was the easiest entry point, was just hitting podcasting first and then kind of grow it from there.
Cool. I really like that, man. So I started my business like 2, maybe 3 months ago, because, it turns out that, like, since I was doing it for me, right, and I was really passionate about, so like I started my podcast, man, because this wasn't working, right? So like, I'm a 20-year-old guy, 20-year-old guy trying to pitch 30 to 45-year-olds on how to grow their business without sacrificing time, health, and relationships. Yeah. You might guess how that went, right? It didn't went well. Nobody gave me money. I had over 60 sales calls, and all I had was rejection. But I was like, so committed to my purpose. I feel it. I have an inside of me, and I really believe that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, right? And I'm like, all right, so like, if this is not working, what else can I do to impact people and to help men become modern gentlemen? And boom, right? I got the idea of, we'll start a podcast interviewing modern gentlemen, right? The most successful men who've been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their business, who have it all, basically, right? And I was like, awesome, let me start doing that. And and I was like, all right, I'm going to, who do I want to be? A modern gentleman. I want to be a coach, speaker, right? So I started interviewing the type of people that I wanted to become, modern gentlemen, who were the type of men that I wanted to be, who were doing the type of things that I wanted to do, and who had the life that I wanted to have. And I was like, all right, I'll probably benefit from this, and I'll learn from them. At the same time, other people who listen to my podcast will learn from it as well. So like I'm purpose driven, man. Like I wish I could show you how I feel, right? But I can show you, I can just tell you, and that doesn't come close to like how it actually is. And I built in like a really cool system, right? 6 months ago, I started my podcast. I built a really cool system. I've done about 120 episodes in 6 months, right? So I have like 5 years of content, and then I started to build it. Yeah, because so I know I have a strategy to find. So, hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs? Reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message, coaching, service, and podcast. Get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone, through my own events, and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my event, become a millionaire in 1 year, get mentored by multimillionaires, and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself. If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. That seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my event. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage, all of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. I use podcasting as a networking tool, and then we have the cloak track, right, which is something that we leverage to find our ideal podcast guest and to close the interview, and then we do a content machine, right? For the content machine, we optimize, multiply, and distribute. So we optimize, we get the interview and we make it look good with the intro, outro, with the publishing information like the description, the title, all of the guest info, right? Making it look good and putting it everywhere. That's optimized. We multiply. So we get that interview and we multiply it into a bunch of clips, reels, posts, story posts. That's why I'm telling you that I have like 5 years of content. And then we distribute, right? So we do email distribution, right? I have copywriters. Every single piece of content that we make has a piece of copy that makes people want to watch or click or whatever, right? We write emails that go out on Mondays and Fridays as well. So that's email distribution. And then we have social media distribution, right? I have a team that posts my content for me and my clients every single day. And then podcast asset distribution, which, you'll see tomorrow, I'll send you a folder. We're extremely fast, man. So tomorrow I'll send you a folder with all of those clips, reels, and posts, right? So that you see how we work. And then that's the content machine, right? So, and that's the content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences, because I don't have a big audience, but you probably have it. You do, right? You have a bigger audience than me, and I'll send you all of that content. You probably post it for me, or at least you get tagged, right? And I'll be able to reach more people. And I built this entire system for me, and it turned out to be something that other people wanted. And I started my business about 3 months ago, less than 3 months ago, and I'm on track to hit $1 million per year, $100,000 per month in 5 months from now. I have like the exact plan and everything. So that's exciting, man. And yeah. I don't know why I went on this rant.
No, it's okay. No, kudos to you, bro. I mean, no, what you did was, you saw a problem that you were facing, right? You thought of the solution. You went out and said, well, how can I make this better? What do I need? And then you went and executed, you delegated, you found the right people, you found the right team. Right? That's what I'm saying. You do exactly what I do. Like you put the right people in team, and then you kind of oversee it, you execute, make sure that everyone's rowing in the same direction. And then it's just beautiful, right? And then you're hitting your goals.
And so Podmatch, that's a a big like software, maybe not big, but they're like a leading right in the industry. And then there's another one. What's the name of this guy? Travis Chappelle. Do you know who that is?
I don't know that
Travis
guy.
Chappelle. He runs what does he run, man? I don't remember the company that he runs, but it's also a SaaS. It's also a software as a service. For podcasting. So I'm actually going to start collaborating with him, because what his platform helps people with is, same thing. It's like a Facebook profile for podcasters, right? It helps you like identify your ideal podcast guest, but that's it, right? And I'm going to start collaborating with him, because he helps find your ideal podcast guest and close interviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't help with the content machine, and all of his clients are going to start coming to me.
Well, that was interesting. So this is why we've also integrated marketing agencies.
Cool.
And so that was strategically, I wanted to do that from the beginning, so we could have people that represent clients that need to get access to either facilitating that, but we also wanted to have a whole, two more things of having marketing people for podcast guests that want, like yourself, that are people like you that, well, you do both. But say if I'm a host just like that, like, man, I need to grow my show. I'm only getting, 200 downloads a month. Like I want to get to 1,000, right? Well, yeah, you probably do need a team behind you. I just happened that mine's grown just because I've had it for so long and I just keep doing it. But right, a lot of people need help with that. They're working their jobs. It's a passion project for them. They don't mind paying someone $1,000 a month to deal with that content. So I wanted to have maybe 6 firms that I trusted that could help people grow and scale. And then also one of the things, what do we all want to do typically as a podcast host, is we want to monetize, right? And so I just saw my buddy Colin Mitchell is now part of a company that's doing this idea that I thought I wanted to integrate into Alchemy Cast, which is the name of my company, but having a way for companies who want to spend ad dollars on podcasts, but want to be transparent about downloads, and they're willing to pay, hey, we'll pay you $250 if you have 500 downloads, per episode, right? And so for podcasters to be able to link up with marketing companies, businesses that want to spend on ad dollars, and so a way for those two to be able to sync up so people can monetize easier.
Cool. Yeah, I really like that. So Travis Chappelle runs Guestio.
Yeah, Guestio. Yeah, a Guestio, Matchmaker, Podmatch. Yeah, I've edited a competition. I just don't know all the owners. I think Alex is Alex the name of the
Alex? Yeah. Alex something. Yeah.
Yeah, for Podmatch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really cool, man. Let's see. So how did you get started on this journey? Like on this wanting to build a software as a service for podcast. How did you get started with this, man? Tell me your story.
That just was something. I was sitting in this office and thinking about how much I was annoyed, and that idea just popped in my mind. I don't know where it came from. I'm a huge believer of spending a lot of time in reflection and having a lot of silence. Someone I enjoy. It's weird that I'm in sales, but I enjoy a lot of solitude. And so I like spending a lot of time by myself. It allows me clarity to think. So I'm one of those guys that's up really early in the morning, just because selfishly I need time for myself. With that, you spur great ideas. It's the same thing with my first apparel business I did that was purely online. It's still out there today. You can go. I don't own it, but you can go check it out and see it's a real business. And I was sitting in my car, like on my lunch break, and I used to work in the surf industry, and I got really big into craft beer and I became a home brewer. And I was like, man, that'd be cool. Like when I go to these brewery events to like wear cool beer swag. And I was like, when no one like makes dope clothing for like hardcore beer enthusiasts, and there's a lot, and it's really blown up since this is 2013, right? I'm thinking this is almost 10 years ago. And but my favorite brands are like Ruco, Bay, Quicksilver, O'Neill. I'm big into the surf culture. I spent 15 years in SoCal, and I was like, what if I took that idea of like a lifestyle brand that we have in surf culture and I brought it over to beer enthusiasts, but I made the not like cheesy beer shirts for like I Heart IPAs and, like stick figures. Like if I actually make legit cool apparel that people would rock, but have an emphasis on proper glassware because beer snobs are really big into putting a certain type of beer in a certain type of glass. So we'll lead with that, have the apparel in the background because that's where the margins are, and see if people dig it. So again, that was just an idea I had like on a lunch break. It just clicked in my mind. I called my buddy who was a graphic designer at the time, and I pitched him idea. He goes, yeah, it's fucking roll. And we had that same thing. We had that up and going in, I don't know, like 2 months.
Yeah. So that cool. So then what's your first podcast?
My first podcast is
Well, first of all, everyone is in sales, right?
yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I'm in sales, but I like solitude and being alone. So like I'm this like, very like hyper extroverted guy, but I actually spend like 30 minutes meditating every single day and I'm alone, for the major part of my day. And there's this place that ideas come from because you're like, right now, you're like, I don't know where I got the idea. There's this place that ideas come from, man, that you are able to tap into when you are able to calm the mind and
Yeah.
like quiet the mind,
Yeah. No,
right?
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, cool. So, because you said that you're into like spiritual stuff, which
Hmm.
I'm starting to get into, like the unseen. There's a saying that I really like that if you invest some time into like understanding the unseen, if you invest 1 year into understanding the unseen, you can collapse 10 years in the physical. Like if you something like that, right? Basically, if you understand the energy, frequencies, all of that, right? You can and are able to work with that. You're able to do so much more, like in the physical world.
Well, everything is energy. Everything is a manipulation of energy. And so, everything is frequency. I mean, literally everything is frequency. I mean, even like our bandwidth to be able to see, right? We're just in the visible light spectrum of frequency that we can see. And it's like, 99% of the shit that is around us, we just can't see because it's not within our frequency. So once you understand that you can manipulate energy and you can resonate in a high frequency or low frequency, like the world really becomes your oyster.
Yeah, man. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, I said I always joke with people. I grew up in Northern California, so we although I grew up with a bunch of rancher and farmers, pretty conservative place in Northern California. You still get that real hippie culture. So yeah, my mom's a Reiki master,
What
and
is Ricky Master?
so Reiki is a form of energy healing. So
Okay.
by day, she's a nurse practitioner, so she's very much into Western medicine. But like I told you, I grew up, Catholic, but I also started going and seeing mediums. She would take me to go see mediums. The first one I ever went and saw was Betty Bethard's, and she's since passed. But so she started talking about my past lives and past life regression and struggles I might face in this life. And I'm 15 and I'm opening my mind to this. And she's like telling me to spend time in meditation. We all have a gift. And so that read me down this rabbit hole of reading different types of books. And I see my mom's meditated every day of my whole life. I can't remember time she's never meditated.
Mm-hmm.
And so it helped me to align myself and get connected. Of course, I've fallen way off my path. My 20s where I was a train wreck for the most of it. But I've really started to realign myself back in my 30s. But yeah, so I had a clear understanding that everything is energy and frequency. It's just like I'm a firm believer that like even like this type of interaction, right? Like I don't typically respond to people when they reach out to me like you did. But there's some people that I'll just immediately resonate with and go, oh yeah, my heart tells me yes on this. And it's just because there's like, to me, there's a chance that we might have been friends before, that my energy resonates with your energy. And then that's what it's like when people say that they're soulmates, right? For me, that's just like at our core, we are energy. And so, if energy is something that can't be created or destroyed, then all it is like your soul, which is just pure energy, is a recognition of another soul that you've spent time with for in pure consciousness, maybe in another realm, another dimension, maybe here on Earth. And so we're just coming back together again and realigning our frequencies for the purpose of greater growth and this time around.
That's deep, man. Thank you for sharing. Man, you gotta send me the list of books that your mother recommended.
Oh yeah, I mean she's got a lot. I think I've surpassed her on the books now, but I'll send you a big list of them.
Yeah. So I have a very structured way of like learning and reading and stuff. But yeah, I actually just stop all the learning because for the next 31 days, I'm going to dive deep into, Jim Kiwick, something like that, right?
Jim
So I'm
Quick.
going to dive deep into like speed reading and comprehension and all of that, right? Because I'm like, I have all of these books that I want to read, right? But instead of like reading them, I'm going to take time off reading and learning to, yeah. So I bought all his courses, like literally just 2 days ago. I invested a couple of grand on his courses. And because I'm going to like take some time off reading and learning and all of that to learn how to learn better, to learn how to read better, to learn how to like absorb and comprehend better. And then I'm going to go like 10 times faster. Like he claims that you're able to read in 1 hour what would take you 10. Imagine that shit.
Right? Yeah, I have a buddy that can speed read. It's really crazy. He's showed me the methodology behind it. And I was just equate that he's a lot smarter than I am. But you'll read him, I'll show you. And so on here's Jim's book. But he'll like literally take the book and he does this with his fingers and he just goes like that. And just like it's just like locked in. I'm like, there's no fucking way you just read that. And he's like, no, and he'll
tell you what it was about, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that, right? And then I just read a quote of who's this investor, like billionaire investor?
Ray Dalio.
Billionaire investor, like very old.
Oh, Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. There you go. See, and then I also bought his recall program to like be able to recall, right? Because like my excuse that I use to logistically the excuse that I use for why I not remember names and why I not remember things is that I use my mind to generate ideas instead of store information. But it's an excuse, right? Like I would love to like remember more. And like I come across this quote from Warren Buffett who said, I probably wasted 10 times reading slow, 10 years reading slow.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy, imagine if you can like learn this, right? Like learn how to speed read, how to absorb more information, how to learn like crazy, man. So I'm diving deep into that.
That's awesome. Good for you. It's a skill. I don't know how to speed read, but what I've kind of adapted myself to over the years, because I have another podcast where I do a book review. I read a book a week. And what I found, I typically read 5 or 6 at a time. And so I kind of just go through the chapters and the sub chapters, and I just pick out points that I think that would be most impactful for me. And so I would typically won't always read a whole book. I go through, kind of look, I'm going to read on this section. Maybe I'll skip a few pages, read this section. This looks good. Yeah, definitely I'm going to read chapter 7, and I put the book away. And that's kind of helped me get through content me faster. But I'm really curious to hear about your story of learning Jim Quick's method, because he is the brain master, right? That's what the guy talks about constantly. So
I'll share it with you, man. As soon as it takes 31 days. I bought all his courses. So like the reading will take 31 days. And then I bought like 4 courses. So I'll definitely come back to you and be like, hey man, you got to put all of the reading down and do this, and then go and read 10 times faster and better.
No, right? I love it.
Yeah. So I'm excited. So you still do the Book Legion podcast, bro?
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I just the last I did was this weekend on Wes Watson's book, Non-Negotiable, 10 Years Incarcerated.
Cool. So you're going to do like a book a week then still?
Yeah, I go through about a book a week. Sometimes I fall a little behind because I will read multiple at a time. I said, or 4 or 5. And so it's like, like this, I just got this one in yesterday. The sacred mushroom and the cross. And this is all about, the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it's basically this guy who was an agnostic minister, and he basically went through and said, hey, if you read the Dead Sea Scrolls, they refute a lot of what we think is Christianity, and it's actual documents from that time. And so he said, no, you guys got Christianity all confused. These dudes were all tripping on mushrooms, and it was really about mushroom trips and their experience with talking to little green elves and about fertility rituals, and much as it was really about Christ and what we think it was, that were all hidden parables. So they weren't persecuted and burned alive by the Romans. And so he says in this book, just Christianity is a big misunderstanding. So that'd be interesting to read.
Damn. That's crazy. So man, I went through, let's see, what do I want to ask? I want to ask, okay. So you read about a book per week, right? You have your insurance company, your wife, your kids, you're working on a software, right? How do you handle all of this stuff, man?
Well, I use just different things to time, like you can kind of see over here, like I time block everything,
Okay.
so for this, it starts at 5 a.m, goes to 11 o'clock at night. So everything was really bubbled in for me. I got this from, I don't really like Jack Dorsey, but obviously he built a pretty big company. And so he's big into brain dumping. And so for people like you and I that constantly are thinking, I have to really prioritize my day. And so I read a book called The One Thing. I think Gary Keller is the the author. And so I've followed that philosophy for a long time. Like I have 3 things I have to accomplish. And if I accomplish those things, they move me forward. So those are always done first part of my day. And then on that sheet, I brain dump everything else that I would like to get to, but it's not a priority. And then I box out my schedule completely. If you look, I have meditation, I have gym time, I have reading time, usually in the morning and at night. I have family time boxed in. Then I'll have my calls for work boxed in. Then I have time for, yeah, exactly. So, I don't leave it to chance with what I'm going to get done for the day. And so, yeah, that's just how I fit it all in. And if that means sometimes health is important. We're talking about your dad and stuff, and you got to take care of the temple first. Like I had a flight last week to Birmingham, and it was a 7 o'clock flight. So I got up at 3:30 so I could be at the gym by 4 and get my workout in. It's just, you make adjustments where you need to.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This I didn't think this, this conversation was going to go the way that it was. But I've had a lot of fun, man. And I always end my episodes with 5 questions. And this is not the first one, but I'm just curious.
Sure.
How old are you, man?
38.
Cool. All right. And how do you feel? Because I come from a culture in which by 35, by 40, you're done, right? So how do you feel?
Oh, I feel like I'm just getting started, brother.
Awesome. That's great.
I think that especially if you take the way that Napoleon Hill approach, your 20s are meant for discovery and kind of finding out who you are. 30s are spent on refining your skills, and your 40s is where you capitalize on everything.
Yeah. And then if you do things like what I'm doing, right? Interviewing all of those people who are decades ahead of you, you could probably collapse that.
Condense it. Yeah. Yeah. Wish someone would told me that at 21.
Yeah. Man. You wish you would have started a podcast at 21.
Shit. Yeah. I was 21 in 2005. I don't even know people were podcasting then.
Yeah. I'm grateful, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have, to be here with you, talking to you. So the first question is, man, if you could give your 20-year-old self some advice, what would that be?
Take more risk earlier and often.
Take more risk.
Yeah. I played it too safe because I came from a scarcity mindset. With my parents, they had a combined income of probably about 55,000 growing up. And so I was so concerned when I started making money about hoarding the money as opposed to taking more risk with the money. And I wish I would have done that a lot earlier.
Yeah, man. So 2 things come to mind, right? Scarcity mindset, first of all. And what is wealth? Wealth is just like the perception of abundance, right?
Yeah.
Which you can trigger. Like you can intentionally trigger with gratitude, right? And what is scarcity? It's just the perception of not having enough, right?
Yep.
Because you're focusing on what you don't have instead of focusing on what you have. So in reality, it's just an idea. Like scarcity and abundance are just ideas that you can control, right?
Yep.
And that's one thing that came to mind. And then another thing that came to mind is what you said with my daughter, that she probably chose, well, I don't know if it's me, because that would be like making me too important, right? But she chose to like go through whatever she went through and be here, right? And the other day I was meditating, and these 4 lines came to me. Okay, I was chosen, I am wealthy, I am grateful, I am a modern gentleman.
Beautiful.
And there, like that, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like and I don't know, maybe you understand, but and maybe you don't. Like, probably people that are going to listen to this are going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But it's much more deeper than just those 4 lines, right? But anyway, I'll go ahead and ask the second question, man. What is a mindset shift that you've had that you can share that you think is contributing to your success?
You know, not to leave things to chance. I think for a long time, again, I had the wrong type of mindset, and I didn't seek out mentors, and I should have a lot earlier. But I kind of thought that like somebody would recognize my God-given potential, because like when I got my first year making 6 figures, I was 25, and I was really proud of myself because no one had really done that in my family. And so I thought, man, hey, I'm really crushing it. I'm 25. I was living in Oceanside, California, at an apartment 3 blocks from the beach. I got my sports car, right? I had accomplished really like my life goals by 25, what I thought I wanted at 18.
Yeah.
And I thought that like somebody would like kind of tap me on the shoulder and be like, hey, you should be doing this. Or like, hey, I've got a better position for you in here. Hey, I want to give you more money. And then I realized that like, no, it's all on me to develop me and for me to build the version that I see myself. And so it took me a long time to get out of my own fucking way to build the man that I wanted to become. And I realized that like I was the only one that was going to do it. Like no one, not that they didn't recognize, it's just that no one doesn't care. They don't care. Like everybody's so self-absorbed with their own ego that like I was the only person who was going to build the man that I wanted to become. No one was really going to help me do it.
Very important concept, right? So a lot of people are, so there's this circumstance, right, that they want to have in their life. And then there's the vehicle, and then there's execution, right? A lot of people get married to like the circumstances that they want to have in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Other people get married to the vehicle. Like, this is the way that I'm going to get there, right? Or, right. But the most important thing is not those 2 things. The most important thing is like, what version of do you have to be in order to get there? Because that's in your 100% and full of like, you're in full control of that.
Yes.
Like, you're not in control of the situation, like the situation that you think you want. You're not in control to make that happen, right? That may not happen, right? The vehicle that is going to take you there, that may change. It might not work. It might not work. It may work or not. But what you do have 100% control is in who you become.
Yes.
And if you realize that, and you get clear on who is it that you have to become that will be able to have that life that you're after, you just focus on becoming that person, and there you go. Like, it's just a matter of time till you get there.
Right. When you brought up Warren Buffett, right? His longtime business partner, Charlie Munger, talks about in order to become a millionaire, you have to have the characteristics of a millionaire. And so for a long time, I wanted to become a millionaire, but I wasn't building the characteristics of a man that would become a millionaire. And so that was just a big paradigm shift that I had to go all in on myself. And so once I did that, like income just skyrocketed, right? Opportunity started coming at me. It was crazy. But it was a frequency thing. I was attracting, right? Was it that Wes Watson always talks about is your frequency, you frequently attract, it's something to do with your frequency attracts, I forget I'm fucking up the saying, but basically, right, you have to resonate at that same type of energy in order to attract what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so having $1 million does not make you a millionaire, right? Being a millionaire gets you, right, $1 million. So a lot of people want to be a millionaire, right? And they think that having $1 million will make them a millionaire. But what will make them a millionaire is being a millionaire, and that will bring the $1 million.
100%. Well, I mean, everybody goes back to classic example, lotto ticket winners, right? Like they won all this money, they're technically a millionaire, but they don't have the mindset. Yeah. They don't have the character, right? They don't have
they're broke.
They don't have the conduct. So it goes.
Yeah. Mindset map. So do you have any advice for people who may lack or need clarity in their life?
Yeah, just what we talked about, man. It's like I say, you could do two things: spend time with yourself every day in reflection, whether it's meditation, prayer, or if you don't like either one of those modalities, spend time fucking just being quiet in the dark, and then journal. Like
Brain dump. Yeah.
get your shit out, and I think that brings a lot of clarity, because it brings clarity to your genius, but it brings clarity to your issues. And you got to handle your issues. It's no secret we have a huge mental health crisis in this country right now, and because I think a lot of us, we're not doing the inner work, right? And so it's like, I was talking about yesterday that our typically our loudest accusations that we make and we proclaim is really like our internal pain that we're just wanting to project onto the rest of the world so they feel what we feel. And so a lot of us, to get clarity, we got to go in, we got to heal ourselves, we got to love ourselves, and we got to project that love outward. And then again, everything just starts to shift and change.
Mm-hmm. I really like that, man. And yeah, there's the reason that we have such a big issue with mental health is because most people are not doing the inner work, like you said. Like, and it's so easy to sedate yourself nowadays.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Social media, right? Yeah. Drugs, weed, whatever, right? But yeah, it's so easy to like just, put all your issues down the rug.
Yeah, and that's something I've smoked cannabis, and I've drank a lot. Obviously, I had a craft beer business, but as I've gotten older, I've really pivoted my life more into sobriety, because it's just like, what are you escaping from?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
What are you escaping from? Like, life is meant to be felt and to be lived, not to constantly change your state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. The other day, I got on a podcast with this really spiritual guy, and he told me that he believes that the reason people smoke, drink, whatever is because they don't feel good enough.
Mm-hmm. True.
Right? Because like their natural state of being is not good enough.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
And if you're a spiritual person and you believe in energy, you go look up the origins of alcohol, and it's an Arabic word. And really why we call it spirits is because you're inviting spirits, right? And so you have to be really careful with the things that you put into your body, and allow the different things to come into you that maybe you don't really want, low frequency or other things. And so a lot of people don't realize, even with television, right? It's a vision. We watch programs that program. And so there's all these different things in our society that are played on words, and people don't realize how much they're being brainwashed by the conditioning of our society, or putting poison into their body and altering their state of consciousness. And when you alter your state of consciousness, you open up yourself to a world that's unknown, that you don't completely understand, and that you may not like.
Damn. Holy. So man, I have two more questions. The next one is, what is a habit that you have that you think is contributing to your success?
Discipline, first and foremost. I'm one of those, like you, Brian, I'm up at 4:30 religiously, and it's just like I don't take days off from the gym. I don't take days off from meditating. I don't take days off from reading. It's just one of my favorite books, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, is just our life. Like every day, every decision that you make every single day is a vote for the direction of who you want to become tomorrow, right? And if you think in terms of that if I'm choosing to put the cupcake in my mouth, that is a vote for me to be fat. Let's call it what it is, right? If I'm choosing to eat the celery stick and carrots, then I'm choosing to have health. And so you're a product of the decisions you've made thus far in your life. And so for me, it's every day having those habitual habits that are going to make me into the version of the man I want to become. I think they define me as successful, whatever that means. It just means that I feel happy and fulfilled, and I like my life.
Yeah. Awesome. The last one is, what do you think about measuring and tracking?
Measuring and tracking?
Yeah.
And what regards?
Everything.
Yeah. Well, from a sales dude, so I track every metric. Exactly. So I think it's extremely important. Even with this phone. So on here, like I have my fitness app, so I track my workouts. Right next to it, I've got my macros. Check my macros. So it's super important. I track my calls. I track my meetings. I track my opportunities, right? I think life is about just that continual evolution of progress. And that's why journaling is so important. Journaling is great because you're really tracking your progress on a daily basis through your thoughts. And so if you go back and you read my journals from 5 years ago, I'm a completely
You're like,
different
what the
man.
hell is this? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's crazy, man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So yeah, I in that sense, yeah, I think it's really important to have some way of measuring how you're doing and how you're trending towards your goals.
And I ask these questions because everyone wants money, right? Which is results financially, physically, emotionally, sentimentally, but everyone wants money. And if you want that, right, there's 4 things that you got to get right: your mindset, your map, your motion, your measure, and you get the money. So that's why I asked this question. So like literally people could literally fast forward to the end and then have like this like course on how to be successful. So, man, I've had a lot of fun. Thank you very much for being here and, talking to me and everything and having this conversation. I really appreciate it. And I loved it, man. Like I just felt it. Like we've probably met in another life or something, like you mentioned. So if other people were like, I really like this as well, I want to know more about, what Tyzer has going on and all of that, where would be the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, Amy, I'm on all social media at Tyzer Evans. Right, Instagram is definitely where I'm the most active, and then you can email me at tyzer@tyzerevans.com if you want to have a chat with me. I'm always happy to chat with people, and then find out more about me. My podcast as well is a good place to learn more about stuff I'm into. I'm pretty open on there about my feelings about spirit. It's business minded, but I'm pretty open about stuff.
Cool. All right. So your podcast is Grind, Sell, Elevate. That's one of your podcasts. The other one is Book Legion Podcast. Do you have another one?
No, it's those 2. Yeah, the Book Legion and then Grind, Sell, Elevate's the main one I've had for a long time. Yeah. Awesome. And we'll put all of that information wherever this appears. It was great talking to you, man. And I'll see you later, man. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, brother.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms